I think we can go ahead and get started. I'm happy to welcome everybody to this new group. My name's Jackie Betts. I'm the city administrator. For those of you that don't know me, I've been here about 8 years now, and we've really focused a lot of our work on the Portland Avenue area. And so today what we have planned for you is a kind of get to know you agenda and to talk a little bit about the work that we're going to be doing. And City of Gladstone is contracted with 3J Consulting. And Heather Austin is our planner, that she handles all of our land use planning. And so we're going to start with Heather kind of giving an overview, and then we're going to go through and do some introductions. So thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you, Jackie. Welcome, everyone. As Jackie said, I'm Heather Austin. I've been helping the city with land use planning about 15 months now. So gotten a chance to get to know Gladstone, the city council, the planning commissioners, but definitely some new faces today. So I'll be excited to get to know you over the course of this project as well. We ran through our slideshow last week, Jackie, Marcy, and Anis, but I don't think we established who would show the slideshow. So shall I share it, Marcy, or are you queued up for it? Or maybe Marcy stepped away. Well, if I can share my screen, if I have the ability to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Okay. Can everybody see the slideshow? It's not in presentation mode yet, but.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, great. Okay, well, again, welcome. Thank you so much for being here for our very first Stakeholder Advisory Committee meeting. We're going to kick off this fun project, hopefully bring a lot of value to the city. Today's agenda, we're going to go through some introductions, see all who's in the virtual room, talk about the project, what all is going to happen over the course of the project timeline, and then talk about that project timeline and what happens over the next 16 or so months. And then we really want to get into a discussion with all of you, talk to you about your experience in Gladstone, what you see as opportunities and as some challenges, and also just giving us your perspective, because that's what you're here for. So we'll be really excited to hear about that. And then a brief next steps, when will we meet again? So I will call your attention to the map here on the right of the screen. This is from the Metro 2040 Growth Concept Map. So it's owned by Metro. And the area that's the purple blob through the middle of Gladstone is laid over Portland Avenue. That is our rough town center area as designated on that Metro map. So that's what we'll be refining and building upon and creating policies for. So Portland Avenue is really the focus, and then expanding out and beyond and figuring out what all that means. The gold lines are corridors. So we'll want to talk about what that means at some point in the project and see what kind of corridor type policies and treatments we need to be discussing. So just as you're thinking about Gladstone and the town center, I think Portland Avenue does come to mind, but that is also what Metro thinks. So it's good that we're in alignment with that. So now we'll just go ahead and do some introductions. We're going to ask you for your name, your background, and what you love about Gladstone. So I'll start. Heather Austin with 3J. My background is in land use planning. I've been doing this over 20 years, particularly working in cities in the metro area and just beyond. I love the small town feel of Gladstone. I love that it's in the metro area, but also feels so distinct and unique. And I'm just excited at the growth and potential going on in the city right now. So I am going to stop my share really fast so we can see everybody. And I'm going to hand it over to, let's see, I'm going to ask Jackie and then Marcy and then Anis, and then we'll do a next group.
Well, like I mentioned, I've been here for about 8 years, and we have slowly but methodically been rebuilding a city here in Gladstone. And what I find so special is the people and the comments and the interest that they have expressed in the Gladstone community. And people love living here. And so I'm very excited to help facilitate everyone through this process.
Hey everyone, I'm Marcy Jory, the Economic Development and Tourism Coordinator for the City of Gladstone. I've been here since July, so I am the newbie, but I'm quickly really loving a lot of things about Gladstone. But I think my favorite part so far has been working with the business owners and the business and building owners and the business community, and just how dedicated everyone is to the success of Gladstone, and to kind of create it to be a place where people like to do business, people love to live here. And I love meeting the multiple generations of people who have been here since, forever, with grandparents and parents and now kids going to school here. So everyone is very invested in Gladstone. I love that.
Hi everyone, my name is Anais Mate. So I work for 3J Consulting as well, along with Heather. I don't work nearly as closely as Heather does in Gladstone, but I am here to support on the project and to help kind of design and conduct the engagement work, but then also just the overall arc of this project and its process. I am a land use planner, community engagement specialist by trade, and I will be, as I mentioned, just supporting the project management of this work. And I am very, very excited for this work. I've been doing a lot of, as you'll hear later, climate-friendly area work all around Oregon, and we'll be talking about what that means exactly for Gladstone.
Thank you. Let's go to Mayor Milch, Bryson Colson, and then Liz Banta.
Hi, I'm Michael Milch. I've lived in Gladstone for about almost 9 years now. I'm a full-time grandparent, retired about 16 years ago, intending primarily to just spend time with family. But when we moved to Gladstone, I got interested not only in volunteering in the schools, but in the city, and found a great opportunity to be involved in helping making the city a better place. My first volunteer role was on the Downtown Revitalization Advisory Committee. And then from then, moved on to Planning Commission that worked on a lot of the zoning changes that have taken place. And then in 2022, I was elected mayor, and I'm in about my 15th month in that. So I'm enjoying being a part of Gladstone, helping make decisions about what happens in the city, and living in a place where most everything I need is close by. It's really nice to have that.
Bryce?
Sorry about that. Hi, I'm Bryce Colson. I own Bound to Happen on Portland Avenue, and I'm also president of the Rotary Club here in town, and I chair the Gladstone Community Festival. My favorite thing about town is definitely mirroring what Mayor Milch said, in that I like that I can walk anywhere. I'm 5 blocks from work. I'm 4 blocks from the grocery store, 6 blocks from recreation at the river. It's a very walkable town. We can take our dogs around in the evenings. It feels very safe. I really enjoy this town. It's been a good place to live. I'm from Oregon City, so it's just across the pond, and I really like it around here, and I want to see Portland Avenue be more walkable, get more people from outside of town coming down, and just get everybody involved with wanting to do something to make it collectively better.
All right. Hi, I'm Liz Banta. My first experience in Gladstone was actually the original Chautauqua, when the wood play structure was still at Max Patterson long ago with my grandparents. But my family grew up in Gladstone. Out of college, our first little house we got was on Dartmouth. And I was an educator for 17 years, and now I own Cookie Pot, which is the consignment shop. And then we just purchased the building that we now have, the brew, the coffee shop. So my job in education, especially during the pandemic, was community building at a high school. And so I just saw the impact that has, and hoping to bring that down to downtown Gladstone. We just love our customers and the walkability and just the support for everything in the city.
Thank you. Let's go next to Andrew Labonte, Bob, and West APL. You'll have to give us your name, but we'll start with Commissioner Labonte.
And I hope you can hear my computer's doing our best. I've lived here about 10 years. My wife and I have two, well, they were small children, but that's changing as turns out that happens. Um, I mean, I've worked in traffic safety education for 20 years. I also do some part-time work with Gladstone, of which many of you through there. My wife and I kind of just by luck ended up in Gladstone, and we feel incredibly fortunate for that. I think in line with a lot of folks here that the small town kind of feel in a metro area, something that I think is important, and I'd like the city to hold on to that kind of small town feel. My profession in traffic safety education, I often think probably too much about transportation safety and some things that that go into that. Here, to some extent, I had some time with the Park Commission years ago, and I'm also on the Clackamas County Traffic Safety Advisory Board. But yeah, what I love about Gladstone is its walkability, especially a kind of downtown area very to kids. I think that's kind of a special that we have here. School nearby. So, yeah, I mean, thank you very much for having me. I look forward to this.
Okay, thank you. And Andrew, for me, it was a little spotty, the sound coming in and out. So hopefully that clears up a little bit. But I think we did catch a lot of it, most of it. So thank you. Bob?
Hi, I'm Bob Everett. I'm trying to figure out how to put my last name in here. I apologize to everyone. So let me see where to begin. I've been here in Gladstone for 34 years now. 1990, I moved back with my wife, who graduated here. My previous wife was in the first graduating class of the high school in 1969. And so I moved back here from, we were up in British Columbia for 12 years. And I'm a dentist on Portland Avenue. Basically, I've been practicing here since 1990. And then in the early 2000s, I moved to Gladstone and lived over in the apartments over there for a little bit, and then bought a house a couple years later with my wife, current wife, and family. So I've been on, again, I'm still down here chugging away, doing the best I can. And I've been a part of Rotary now for 11 years, along with Bryce, and he orders me around a lot because I'm the secretary, and he has the right to be able to do that. And I say, yes, sir, and then ignore him. We have fun. And I became interested in the downtown area a long time ago, when I saw that there was really nothing that was really going on down here. And I felt that we could have a better, more inviting sort of place. And that's sort of been my interest in part there. I love Gladstone because it's given me, really it's given me my livelihood. I love it, the fact that I know a lot of people here. They're very friendly. And it's easy to really just sort of try to get some things done and be able to talk to the people and access to people, whether it's talking to Mike, whether it's talking to Jackie, anybody. It's very easy to be able to do that and therefore get things done easier. So thank you very much.
Am I next? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. My name is Lisa, and I don't know how to change my name. I need to ask my husband, who does tech support.
If you just hover your mouse over your
Yeah.
video and you click the 3 dots on the top right, and then you can go to the very bottom. It says rename.
You know, Anise, I don't have that option. I think
yeah,
it's
I don't
just
either.
the administrators.
I will do
So
it then for you.
Hey,
we-
we'll change it for you.
we tricked everyone, made you think you had some control.
I'll
Sorry,
figure it out.
guys.
But
Thank you, Lisa. Keep going.
I'm trying to think of what the three things we were supposed to say now.
Just your name, your background, and what you love about Gladstone.
Okay. We moved to Gladstone in 2019, and we love our house. It's right off of Portland Avenue. And we are so happy that we got this house right before the pandemic, because Gladstone is so walkable. It really just saved us being so close to the park and being able to take the dog and the kid for the walks, you know, going down to the river, the smoothie shop, the coffee shop, like just the pizza shop, which was sad that it closed, you know, all those things that, you know, made us happy that we're there. I work for Multnomah County, and I work from home 4 days a week. So I'm out and about all the time. You know, I pick up trash, I take the dogs for the walks, I'm just around all the time. And so I wanted to join this to be part of the conversation, because I'm curious, and also because I live so close to where I think all this stuff is gonna affect things. So yeah.
Thank you. And then I'd just like to let our agency partners have a chance to introduce themselves. We have Kelly Reed from DLCD and Glenn Hamburg from Metro.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly Reed. I'm with the Department of Land Conservation and Development, a state agency. We actually are funding this work through one of our grant programs. So we're really happy to be able to do that in partnership with the city of Gladstone. And I previously was a planner in Oregon City for many years, and so I was commuting through Gladstone on the trolley trail and on McLaughlin Boulevard for many years, and so I'm very familiar with Gladstone. And my what I like about Gladstone, I can't pick one thing, so I'm gonna say three things. So the trolley trail, the proximity to Clackamas Willamette rivers and access to the river, and then others said walkability, and I'm a city planning nerd, so I'm gonna say the street grid. I like that Gladstone has a street grid. Thanks everybody for being part of this, and I look forward to working with you.
And hi, everybody. I'm Glenn Hamburg. I'm a planner with the regional government Metro. Previous to joining Metro, I was a planner at Clackamas County. And at Clackamas County, I had the joy of working with a number of planners who were at the time doing planning services for the city of Gladstone. So Jennifer Hughes, Clay Glasgow, Melissa Aarons, and Joy Fields are all people who I know pretty well and really appreciate, and through their work have gotten to learn about various goings on in that community. My personal favorite thing about Gladstone is the community garden, which I don't know, is there a larger community garden anywhere? It's pretty impressive. I'm happy to be here. One of my functions at Metro is administering the Urban Growth Management Functional Plan, which will soon have certain requirements related to town centers. And so my interest in being a part of that group is to just assist with whatever I can in helping the city meet those requirements when the time comes. So good to see you all.
Is the community garden at Meldrum? I'm like, I don't even know where that is. Is that the one down at Meldrum? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
All right, thank you. If I didn't get you, please speak up now. Otherwise, I'm going to go back to sharing the slideshow. But I think we got everybody. Okay, let me pop back in here. I think it starts me back at the beginning. So, okay. Here we go. We did that part. All right, so I'm going to just give us a little overview. I know we provided you this information in your packet, but I know it was also beautifully sunny weather for the last 3 days. So if you didn't get a chance to deeply dive in here, we're going to give you an overview and then have plenty of time to talk about all of this as the project goes on. So let me just move you. Okay. So the project purpose is to establish a town center in Gladstone. We have our downtown core overlay. We have our downtown revitalization plan, which we'll talk about a little bit more, but we need to make an official town center. This is going to help us comply with the Metro 2040 growth plan that Glenn just talked about administering, which will become a requirement of all cities in the metro area by the end of 2025, but also helps us establish our climate-friendly area requirements, which is through the state of Oregon, but allows us to kind of double dip and have one area meet both of those criteria. As Kelly mentioned, this project is funded by the Department of Land Conservation and Development. The city's been awarded a grant to be able to complete this work over the next, we need to be finished by June 30th of 2025, excuse me. So 16 months or so that we have funding to get all of this work done. This project is really focused on establishing that town center. We need to determine exactly where and exactly how big the town center should be. So those are going to be two key components of trying to make sure that we have an area that is serving our residents. It's walkable, it has transportation connectivity. And then once we determine where it should be, we need to put some policies into place through things like development code updates and comprehensive plan updates, all the regulations that go toward allowing the city to require potentially minimum residential densities, making sure that there's enough opportunity to provide housing in the area, expanding what types of uses you might want to allow in that area. Potentially increasing maximum building height. I know this did happen during the town center, the downtown overlay. So the work has been done here, but there may be some looking back and seeing if there's any changes that need to be made there, as well as multimodal connectivity. And we planners like those words, but really that's connecting your bicycles, pedestrians, and transit services along with your vehicular traffic. So trying to reduce the number of trips that people need to make in their car and giving them options for other ways to do that. And then parking reform, which is citywide. So a part of the climate-friendly and equitable communities work is looking at how cities manage parking and how they require parking throughout the city, definitely within the town center itself, but then looking broader. So it's almost a separate tier of the project, but we'll be working on it in tandem with this project, and we'll be talking about parking reform with this group and getting your take on how we're going to move forward. I did mention that these documents and projects that have occurred in the past, and this work did begin before 2017. All of you are more expert than I am. But in 2017, the downtown revitalization plan was put together that really had a vision for Portland Avenue of how to increase walking and biking and get more businesses and more economic development into the core area of Gladstone. So I think that document is such a great basis to start with. A lot of the groundwork has been laid there. And then just in 2023, we were able to take some of those concepts. I was able to help a little bit on that project. APG MIG was your consultant to do this program, but I did help take it through the public hearing process, where you then put some development code provisions in place to implement the downtown revitalization plan. But as you can see in the map on the far bottom right of your screen, the dashed red area is where these new code provisions apply. So it's a pretty limited geographic area. And I think it was a good way to start, a good way to say, let's focus our energy and focus our regulations. But now with this town center project, we're going to be able to expand beyond that and really look at a larger geographic area. So now we get to process and schedule. Anais, if you are available to jump in there, I will stop talking and let you take the next couple of slides.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Heather. All right, so what does the project, so I'm going to talk a little bit about what the scope is here and what our major deliverables are for this project. So the first thing that we're going to be working towards is establishing a couple different options for the Gladstone Town Center boundary. So we're going to establish a few boundary options that will be used for analysis. Based on those, various boundary options, we're going to be bringing in Echo Northwest, which is a local economic development firm, to conduct a market feasibility. So to understand what are the market implications of these different boundary options. And we're also going to be at the same time working on some parking standards and code reform as well. All of that is going to inform, along with obviously the input from this committee and a community workshop that we'll host in the summer. We'll kind of take what we understand from those various market feasibility studies, apply them to those boundaries, and then come up together with a preferred boundary for this town center designation. That will be our refined Gladstone Town Center boundary milestone. And then once we have that milestone or that established or preferred boundary, it's not listed here, but we will be going back and just identifying what are some anti-displacement strategies that will need to be enacted in order to make sure that that boundary doesn't unduly affect any underserved communities or business owners, et cetera, that may be affected by that overlay. And then that will all be packaged into updated policy language and updated development code and zoning map work, which is our very last milestone. Next slide. So this is kind of how all the pieces fit together in terms of a timeline. So we did just kick off this work at the beginning of the year. We will be working on the town center analysis, so identifying various options for that boundary, doing the market feasibility study based on those options, and also that parking reform work will take up the majority of our time over the next 6 months or so. Obviously, we'll be kind of doing some regular engagement with this group as a committee and then the broader community through that community engagement task at the very top. And then we'll be gearing into comprehensive plan and zoning code amendments towards the winter of this year and into spring of next year. And then this project is slated for adoption in spring going into summer of next year. You'll see that at the bottom. We'll have regular SAC meetings sprinkled throughout essentially the next year or so. We do have a total of up to 4 meetings with this group. So there will be some time in between our meetings, but we'll make sure to give you ample time to review any work products that we plan to be discussing at each of those meetings well in advance. And as I mentioned, we will have a public workshop sometime in the summer when we have those boundary options available for review, as well as some additional background information from that market feasibility study. So that is all stuff that we hope to share out with the community and have a more have a good conversation around in the summer. And then of course, staff will be leading regular briefings with Planning Commission and City Council throughout the course of the project.
I think I want to pause there, Anais, and see if we have any questions. I should have paused before I handed it over to you as well. So are there any questions about the background materials that I presented or about the process and schedule that Anais has presented? Okay, I'm not seeing any, so I think we're good. Okay, I'm gonna go back then. Let me hide you guys. Okay.
Awesome.
Yep, go for it.
Thanks, Heather. Okay, so then great. So speaking a little bit more specifically to just our overall engagement arc for this project and what we plan to do. So as you saw in your meeting packet, there is a draft public involvement plan attached. If you do have an opportunity to take a look at it and review it, especially the stakeholder list, we would love your careful review of that. If you have any ideas that you want to add to that list, please do send them over. But generally speaking, a lot of this work will be guided by this committee. So the Stakeholder Advisory Committee is a really key component of our engagement work throughout this project. As I mentioned, we will have a community workshop scheduled in the summer where we get to review those various options for the town center boundary and what the market impacts are of those options. We'll have regular briefings with Planning Commission and City Council. In addition, we will be maintaining a couple of communication avenues with the city. So we do have a project website that I believe is up and running and live. And so all of the materials that you'll need and be referencing will always be available on the project website. Jackie or Marcy, maybe we can put the link to the website in the chat so folks can take a peek at that. And then in addition, we will be preparing a media release, a newsletter, just announcing the launch of the project and driving people to the website. And that newsletter or that media release will also be put out through eBlasts and other various information materials like flyers and fact sheets that we'll be preparing, especially for the community workshop in the summer. So that's kind of a mix of both activities and communication tools that we'll be using throughout the process. And yeah, as I said, if you have a chance to review the stakeholder list specifically in that public involvement plan, and if you have any additional ideas you'd like us to consider, please do send them over. You can either dump them in the chat or send an email as well.
So Anise, the city doesn't have a chat function on this Zoom account right now, so we will probably email out that link.
Thank you. Yeah. Great. We're learning all sorts of things about the Zoom meeting. Okay, sounds good. So yeah, just be on standby for a link from either Jackie or Marcy. Any questions about just those activities that I outlined or the communication tools? I'll just make a note. We do have a little newsletter blurb going out about this project. That's gonna go out in the next month or so you will see something. And any additional language we have, especially around the promotion of the community workshop in the summer, we will make sure to share with this group. You guys are all active community members, and so to the extent that you're able to share out information about the workshop specifically, that's always very, very helpful. There's probably lots of folks that don't check the website or read the newsletter necessarily. So your help in getting the word out is always appreciated. Okay, and then lastly, next slide. So just in terms of, what your responsibilities are for this committee. So as I mentioned, we'll have up to 4 meetings. They'll probably be every few months. We'll make sure that you are all well prepared for those meetings, but we will certainly be sending work products your way that we'll be discussing at the meeting. So we do ask, in terms of your commitment to this group, is to just review those work products as they come to you. Be prepared to offer any suggestions or bring any questions you might have to the meeting. So yeah, reviewing and commenting on work products is a key element of your role on this committee. And then, guiding any engagement efforts. So just what I mentioned in terms of helping us spread the word, putting out news and information about upcoming events, especially the community workshop, being able to share that among your own networks is extremely helpful for all of us. We may even, in fact, need a bit of help at the community workshop in the summer. So folks that are interested and available, maybe it's helping facilitate a conversation or helping man a table. That's always very helpful as well. And of course, you all represent a really wide variety of interest groups and community organizations. So just acting as a liaison to those specific groups is very helpful in this process. And then, of course, encouraging others to participate. So when the time comes, being able to champion this effort far and wide on our behalf. Any questions about? Yeah.
Can I just add one thing to all of our participants, is that if you would like the city to print you a packet of information, some people like to read it in a packet form versus electronically. We are happy to do that. You just need to let Marcy or myself know ahead of time.
Great. Any questions about either, roles or responsibilities? Yes, I see one hand. Yes, Mayor Milch.
I know that the focus on climate friendliness is primarily around providing alternatives to the use of automobiles and having walkability and those kind of things, and the parking component is a part of that as well. We've just formed a Gladstone ad hoc tree committee that would be looking at trees in the public area. I read in the newspaper that the city of Portland just adopted some new regulations limiting the use of gas-powered leaf blowers, which some people see as a very environmental issue. Will we focus a little bit more on things broader than just automobile transportation? Can we bring into how might we add more street trees and more shade to our downtown area? Is that appropriate to be part of the discussion?
Do you want to answer, Anise, or should I jump in?
Oh, go ahead.
That's a fantastic piece to this discussion. Yeah, I think absolutely. We want to talk about all different ways that we can encourage growth and development and walkability within this town center. So absolutely, trees, shade, other kinds of policies that are outside of transportation, the built form. Yes, absolutely. Bring those ideas. We'd like to, when it's appropriate, we'll provide information that the ad hoc tree committee, if they're up and running, we'd love to get them to take a look at what we're doing and see if they can give some thoughts on the proposals. That's great.
And I see Liz had her hand up as well.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I may have totally missed this, but like budgeting for this, is this all tax money or what? I'm sure we'll get to that at some point. I'm just curious
Grant
on the
funded.
budget. Grant,
Yeah.
It's all grant funded, everything?
Well, this project, so this project's entirely grant funded. And so whatever policies and things we put in place, the idea will be if we update the development code, then as a private development comes in, they'll be paying their fair share of what's required as they develop their property. And then we would also hope to link this to our capital improvement program where the city decides what funds to spend on transportation improvements and other sort of public investment. Some of those types of things might come out of this work as well. But as far as just getting this project to the point where we have an adopted town center and we have policies in place to help support that town center and the parking reform piece, that is all fully funded through the State of Oregon grant. Yeah.
Great.
And I think there was maybe one more
Maybe
hand
Lisa?
raised.
Oh, nope.
Nope. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. If there are no more questions, we can move along.
Yeah, I think this is back to, Lisa, you do have a question.
Changed my mind. I have a question.
Yeah,
Do you
please.
know the summer engagement? Summers fill up fast. Do you have a date so that we can kind of plan around that?
Great question. We don't have a date, but I love the forethought, and we'll make sure. How about Jackie, Marcy, and Heather? Next time we speak at our next project management team meeting, let's land on a date, and so that we can share that out with the SAC sooner rather than later. But Lisa, I think there's a couple of ways that we may go about it, and sorry if I'm speaking off the cuff, but it may be a midweek event in the evenings, so hopefully not caught up necessarily in folks' summer weekend plans, but at the same time there may be also opportunity to align the work with a community event that's already happening in the summer as well. So those are just some options, and we'll be talking as a group on exactly what makes the most sense, and definitely make sure to communicate that over to you ASAP so you guys can get it on your calendars.
I think, and just to add to that, of course, we really hope we can make everybody's calendar find a gap in everybody's calendar. But if for some reason we fall short and someone isn't able to make it, we will have that website. We'll be sure to have the same information we're sharing in the community discussion available on the website. So if we end up doing any kind of survey or anything like that, it'd be available in person and on the website, so people would have an opportunity to give us feedback, even if it's just question and answer kind of thing. But we will definitely do our best to bring in as many voices as we can and make sure it's as accessible as possible. Okay. Any other questions before we get into our more discussion portion? Okay. Whoops, sorry, wrong button. Let me go back. We are just going to ask some questions now, and this is open-ended. We want to just hear from you. Oh, geez, I'm so sorry. Who let me drive the PowerPoint? Okay. We want to talk to you about what you see as opportunities and challenges when it comes to a Gladstone Town Center project. So given your experience, what should we be on the lookout for and what's going to be a great benefit to us? And then just key considerations, whether they're in the plus or minus category. This is where we as maybe sort of outsiders, although I feel like I'm starting to become more enmeshed in the community, but we want to hear from your perspective so that we make sure that we're taking that into account when we're starting to look at these ideas of the town centers. So let me open up my grid again so I can see everybody. And this is the time when everybody can throw out ideas. So don't be shy. Yes, Lisa.
Okay, I have ideas for the challenges. And I maybe off topic, but Mayor Milch, is it too late to get on the tree committee? I thought it was for tree experts, so I didn't try and get on it.
We did want some tree experts. We wanted to have at least one certified arborist on there, but it was not limited to that. We've
okay.
selected a committee so far, and
Okay.
but Administrator Betts would be the one to know whether we would be open to adding it to more people.
Okay.
You know, not everybody jumps on right away, and not everybody's tuned into everything that goes on. So I don't want people to miss out on an opportunity because they just didn't happen to see it in time or misunderstood the requirements. But we can talk about that as the city council and staff and see whether we would be open to including more people. Anything we do like that, all the meetings are open to the public. So you would have a chance to participate even if you weren't part of it. Just keep that.
Okay, perfect. Maybe I'll just do that then. Okay, so I wanted to do the challenges one. Not to start off on a negative, but I've got a couple listed. So I'm glad that the mayor mentioned the trees issue, because during the summer when it's really hot, there are certain parts of Gladstone that I won't walk my dog because it is so hot. And I've been saying it for several years now that I wish that there were more trees on the streets. And I know that Friends of Trees gives out free trees, you know, for the strip, the sidewalk strip. So that's a program. I wish there were more garbage cans in the city center and kind of out a little ways, because we do kind of have a trash problem. And I think more garbage cans would help that. We need more stop signs in certain areas, especially kind of in this circle around the downtown area. Not just Portland Avenue, but like if you drew a big circle around it, there's lots of side streets that don't have any stop signs and people just drive really fast through there, which is a safety issue. Lots of sidewalks that need ADA updating. And then hoping that when we get to the point where we're trying to like beautify things, that we can focus on native plants. And that's it.
That is a great list. That's a great start. Thank you.
I just wanted to second that. I love that list. Thank you.
I will vouch for Lisa with the garbage cans and the ADA as a business owner. We just did our ADA access in the back of our building, but it's on the business owners and it's expensive.
Thanks, Liz. Bryce?
Okay, am I unmuted? Yes, I am. Okay, so I think we have a lot of opportunity downtown to make it pretty. We have the river right there. I'd like to see hanging baskets. Those are like, continue with those. Those were a huge improvement. Those are like the biggest improvement I've seen down there in a long time. I enjoy Portland Avenue events and stuff that is going to bring people down. The challenge is, one, with the ADA, definitely the train tracks down Portland Avenue, making the street bow up so much, right by my shop. And Liz, you're right with me there, is that the rainwater will wash over the curb from the street because there's so many layers of pavement that the curb is only down to an inch or so in some spots. If I put in ADA access outside of extending it out into the sidewalk, which would block it out in the front, like there would be water coming up into my shop. So if I lowered my entrance down, that's a big one. And then making crosswalks more visible, because I've had several customers and friends who have had anywhere from falling off a skateboard to completely crushed ankles that they had 6 months in a cast to fix. And that was on Portland Avenue in Dartmouth. I walk to work every day. I live on Dartmouth. I'd like to see a full bike lane and marked crosswalks down Dartmouth. And just, even though we're not changing the speed lower, even, we want to make that appearance that it's not a big wide avenue that you can go drag racing down. So my biggest concern about it is quickness of the project, and making sure people continue to support those of us who are already down on Portland Avenue. But when we hear things like, oh, I don't come down here anymore because it's always under construction, which was something we heard during the Clarendon project a few years ago, people are afraid to come back down there, and they're not willing to go find a parking spot around the street or something. So they just drive off, and making sure that we have business accessible during any projects that are going to close down the street, redo the sidewalks, etc. Making sure that everything is just expeditiously handled. And I get how construction projects have hiccups frequently, but we just need to have our ducks in a row when we're going through that, so that we can continue, those of us who have put the work in before and through this, that we can continue on after it.
Another great list. Thank you, Bryce. Mayor Milch, I think your hand was next.
Speaking of the opportunities, I think it's great right now that the projects themselves and the work that we did to prepare the downtown overlay zone and change some of the codes have acted as a real strong catalyst for more development. We had a piece of property in the corner of Portland Avenue in Arlington that sat vacant for many, many years. And it was only after we changed some of the requirements down there that somebody stepped up and purchased it and has some plans. There are other pieces of property that were basically, commercial zombie houses. They were just not being used to their best ability. And we're starting to see that. And I want to refer back to Lisa mentioned the pizza place. Just last week, the city council approved the OLCC liquor license for a new applicant who wants to lease that space and start a new pizza restaurant there. So, things are coming back, and we have a feeling that the new library building, once it is complete, will also be a catalyst for people. I had the opportunity to go to a reading program at the elementary school a couple of weeks ago and talk to a class of fourth graders, ask them what they liked about Gladstone. And a lot of them brought up the fact that the destinations for children, like the Cookie Pot consignment store and like the library, that they're close, that they're easy to get to and close to their school. And families, I think, really like that. And if we could develop downtown Gladstone as a real family-friendly place, addressing those concerns about comfort and shade and safety, I think we would have a lot of people in this community really happy to see that develop in that way.
That's great. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and go to Dr. Bob and then back to Lisa, just because we haven't had a chance to hear from him yet.
Okay. I having been down here for, as I say, for 30 some years, I also, like Bryce, appreciated the flowers. I thought that a little bit of color, a little bit of sort of just, I don't know, just some pizzazz downtown. And I've seen some places that you can build up little areas and then also have trash cans in them, and also doggy bags at the same time. I think that would be a benefit to having seen the effects of not having those all the time. Although I know most people are very good about that. Also, like out in front of my place, I know I have the guy sort of try to work to plant some things down there. It's not always real nice, but we've got those little square areas on some areas. It'd be nice to have some sort of help in there to clean them out, plant things. I'm hoping that we can, with the new tree committee, we can find a way to some other alternative that they can give me for these trees that are out in front of my place, which are pretty ugly, not real attractive, so to speak. And considering I lost most of them in the freeze, it'd be nice to have. I'd like some ideas on some alternatives, things like that, that we could sort of do in there. Part of my hesitation always is that how much do you do if there's going to be some other improvement down through Portland Avenue? I mean, you put in a bunch of stuff that all has to be ripped out in case they do some other work along in there. I mean, that's the real challenge, is how to coordinate everything and really so that we have some sort of timeline. I know there's money. It's a money problem to really fix up Portland Avenue, which is behind me, not my cat. And so it's hard to sort of plan all the time because there's no, we don't know the time frame, so to speak. And maybe that's something that we can find out a little bit more here, in my opinion, then too. So, but thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it sounds like as a business owner, more certainty with what's going on would be helpful for you in making investments amongst the other items you listed there.
Certainly. Yeah. I mean, and and I think that's what Bryce also sort of said a little bit more idea of what the future may bring a little bit. So, I mean, as I say, it's 2000 in the late 2000s, I was a part of that initial sort of plan. Well, that's 15, 16 years ago. And what have we really done? Nothing. So, and I know money's a concern. It was expensive then, it's expensive now. So anyway.
Okay. Let's hear from Lisa and then Andrew and then Bryce and then Liz.
I just wanted to clarify when I talked about the ADA stuff, it was more about sidewalks and not being able to get on and off sidewalks, because there's a fair amount in Gladstone that don't have like the ramps at the end of the street. You know what I'm talking about? It's just a sidewalk and then a drop. That's what I was talking about, not necessarily about the businesses.
More about crossing the streets and keeping it continual than the businesses themselves. Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Andrew, I think. Yeah.
Uh-oh. So we're still having, maybe Andrew, try turning your camera off and see if that helps with your sound quality. Yeah, let's try that.
Hi, am I coming through
Yeah,
here?
that's better. Yeah.
Oh, that's better. Okay. You won't get to see my goofy head. So to kind of go through, I agree with everybody. Making it look nicer down there is a key part of it for sure. I know with the zoning, a couple of my concerns and some kind of cool parts of the downtown that I think, but a couple of my concerns are, and as a planning commissioner, I'm not sure if it came through clearly when we did the intro, but I serve on the planning commission. I'm one of two planning commissioners on this board. Natalie Smith is the other planning commissioner. She cannot be here today, but we wanted to have a couple planning commissioners on board here. I know one of my concerns for the downtown, I often hear folks say that they want it to be more like Milwaukee's downtown, which is fine. But I think My concern, just to be frank, is really with building height. The Planning Commission in the past few years increased the building height from 40 feet to 50 feet downtown. It's my understanding. And I'm a little worried about that, especially where we have no ability to really restrict parking because we are within the half mile to Route 99. So I think that's going to be a really important thing. I am concerned about having very large buildings in here and really changing the character of our family-friendly downtown. And part of the zoning that is done and the decisions that planning has made kind of limits some of the landscaping that is required by the anybody building downtown. And I was not in favor of that. I think a little more landscaping, especially when we consider the tree. There aren't a heck of a lot of big trees around. So there's a couple things I'd like to revisit, would be the height of buildings, to reconsider 40 foot and to maybe increase some of the landscaping requirements for builders. Let me see here. I think one really important asset is the old library and what will become the fate of the old library. I've heard a bunch of different ideas tossed around. My understanding is that there could be parking there. Perhaps the building is sold. I'm not sure if that's a great thing. If more parking was there, one idea that I truly love, and I think downtown, some of the businesses have been trying to do something like this, is to have a nice gazebo in that parking lot where the old library is, as kind of a central focal point for small music venues, a good place for a lot of those businesses to people who are going downtown, a place to hang out, people going to the library. I think what is done with the old library will be a really important part of the future of Gladstone and how it looks, for sure. And being a member for years and working in traffic safety and as a member of the traffic safety board, of which I am no longer, but I was for a long time, I definitely hear you, Lisa, regarding the ADA. There's some grant stuff out there for us to kind of improve the crossings. I do know that one of the arguments against painting more crosswalks is and I'm not saying I agree with this necessarily, but one of the arguments against it is that if there are so many crosswalks and people are going to be less likely to actually notice them, whether that's true or not, but it's one of the things that we might kind of bump up against. And also regarding stop signs, it seems like it should be easy sometimes to put stop signs in, but it seems to be a pretty big process to that, to looking into what intersections should have those stop signs, which I think is a great conversation to have. My bottom line goal is I'd like to keep our town very much focused around children, especially where we have the elementary school so close. It's such a good kind of combination of you get out of school, you come downtown, you hang out. It's very old timey in some ways, and I'm kind of a sucker for that stuff. But just to be clear, the library parking lot, that's really important. I'd love to see a gazebo or some type of community space there. I am concerned about having taller buildings, and I would, certainly encourage more landscaping for anybody that's going to come in building with any new buildings. But other than that, I'm sure I'll have other things, but I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. And the audio was great. So I think that's a good workaround for this meeting. So thank you for that. I can't remember who we said was next, but I hope you guys do.
So one thing, just to adding quick, bike racks. I would love permanent bike racks for people to come park their bikes down by our shops. But two, on challenges, Portland Avenue goes nowhere. And that's a big struggle, is that it goes from a river to an elementary school, and there's no pass through on there. So for people to turn off of Portland Avenue, we're requiring them to go down Dartmouth, Arlington, Gloucester, and want to come down to the cross streets where this real main downtown area is. So just something if we can figure out a way to bring people down there and make more awareness, even though they're not necessarily driving through it, seeing what it has to offer every day is a big part. And then finally, I concur with Andrew on building height and density. I have no interest in living and working in a high density community. So I just want to put out there that there are other people who feel that way too. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Liz, and then Bob.
All right. So a couple things. Parking obviously is a major issue. We had a little St. Patrick's Day festival yesterday and people were walking from blocks away, which obviously is not that far. But if they can't find parking, I know with my consignment shop and they're trying to unload their family out of their car, they don't come because it's not convenient. So that old library space would be a really ideal parking lot that would be accessible to the new library and the businesses, and especially with the pizza shop going in and food carts on Arlington, we just don't have the parking right now to support that on a sunny Saturday afternoon. Looking at the 2017 plan, I remember seeing that and just thinking like, this is way too big for our little downtown area. I don't think we need to go so big. I think we need to take what we have and just widen our sidewalks and get some parking and do some nice landscaping and make it bikeable, bike accessible, ADA accessible. So many people walk their dogs, have benches, garbage cans, just make it feel very nice and homey and safe down there, which I think we already have, but we can make it nicer. So I do agree on the stop signs with living on Dartmouth in the past. I know people will just fly through those side streets. I can't believe that even the Portland Avenue Dartmouth one, I can see from my window, people fly through that all the time. So just trying to slow people down. And then I think that's all that I have right now. So those are my 2 cents, but I support what everyone else has said as well.
Ready for me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So density is density. I have my own opinions on it, but what I don't like is and what I liked in the other plan a little bit was sort of a way to slow people driving down the street. I think that's the most annoying thing to me. Well, it's not the most, but it is annoying how fast people go down Portland Avenue. Having little bump outs on there, not necessarily on the road. I don't mean that, but in the old plan there was sort of the intersections would be raised, or the outside would be, the sidewalks would be sort of go out and around. It just sort of creates if it's a narrower looking type of thing, in my opinion, that just naturally slows people down. And of course, one of the challenges, and I agree with Bryce, is that Portland Avenue really doesn't go anywhere. But that doesn't mean we can't draw people in. But it's very difficult when we really have no mass transit through here. I mean, yes, the bus comes through once in a while, but one of the things that you always hear is we don't really want car traffic. We want people to use mass transit. Well, if you don't have it, you can't use it. So that was the same thing with the tolling. Use mass transit. Well, there's no mass transit over the bridge. And so it's easy to say that, but unless you have it, it's difficult to do. So, but anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Let's go with Kelly. Haven't heard from her yet. And then I think it was Lisa, Andrew, and then Mayor Milch.
I just wanted to put a plug in for DLCD's new green infrastructure grant program, which is just getting set up. The legislature gave us $6 million to give out in the form of grants throughout the state. And so later this year, we'll be opening up application for those. And when I hear people say tree committee, street trees, need for kind of stormwater management along the curbs, I think this is a great fit for Gladstone. So I will be sharing that information with you later on via email. Mayor Milch and Jackie and Heather, I'll share that information. Because I think it sounds like there's some great opportunities for like follow-on work once this work is done to kind of really set the stage even more for the development that you all hope to bring into your town center. So that's all.
Thanks, Kelly. That does sound like a great fit.
I wanted to agree with, I think it was Andrew that talked about how tall buildings were going to be. I agree. I don't want to. I like how downtown Milwaukee has kind of revitalized, and it looks kind of hip, and they've got some cool art, which I think would be fun for us to do as well, like some art on the side of the buildings, and maybe do like an art walk or something where that we have sculptures, just something like that kind of in the community. But like the giant condo building that is, I don't even know, 10 stories, like it's just kind of a turnoff for me. So I'm really hoping that Gladstone isn't going that route of where there's going to be a giant condo that's just humongous and taking up so much space. And then on the flip side, when I think of something like Sellwood, where like the Sellwood Library, that stretch, like they have the businesses, and then I believe they just have above like one story of living space, like condos or apartments. Like it's just one floor, or maybe it's two, but it's not very big. Like that seems okay, you know, where it's like a business and then livable space, you know, something that's not too big.
Thank you. I think we have Andrew and then Mayor Milch, and then that might be the end of our opportunity for this discussion, but we will have many more opportunities. So let's hear from Andrew and then Mayor Milch.
And I'll turn my video off again. Okay, hi, hopefully you can hear me now. And I just want one thing, and about to your point, Bryce and Bob, about Portland Ave not going anywhere. Totally get that. I think just a simple thing, I'm surprised it's not there unless I'm completely dropping the ball, but that intersection of Arlington and Portsmouth, and Portland rather, Arlington, Portland, just a simple little, because there's a wayfinding committee a few years back and came up with like different signs and how to direct people to different parks and things along those lines. I think maybe something that was maybe missed there was just a simple sign that says downtown businesses at that Arlington and Portland Avenue intersections, just so, because we know well that Arlington is used as a cut through. A lot of folks are going through there. We have a fair amount of traffic, and what a great opportunity where, so people will just see, oh wait, there's some businesses, let me check it out. Whoa, it's a block away. Oh cool, this is kind of funky. Or you know, we've got these different services that we provide here. So I think one simple thing that we could do, maybe even in a couple of weeks, just get a little downtown Gladstone sign with a little arrow at that intersection, I think might have some impact. And I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you.
On the issue of public transportation, we do have about 6 different TriMet bus routes that go through Gladstone at various places. And several of them go down either Portland Avenue from Abernethy to the north, or from Dartmouth to the east. And I get postcards in the mail from TriMet informing me of changes and updates in their routes, because they're trying to have simultaneously, it's always a struggle for public transport, to simultaneously have more coverage and also improve ridership. And that means sometimes moving the routes to areas where they will touch more people who make use of them on a regular basis. Those of us who don't use the bus all that often sometimes aren't aware of how often it comes through and where it goes. It might be nice at some point to get some input from somebody from TriMet who could update us on what the plans are, because I think they're currently about to change for bus routes through Gladstone. So we know what streets they're going on, what directions, whether they're just rush hour or how frequent they are. That could help us in designing some of our transportation modes that go with that, and know perhaps streets to avoid making changes to, and streets that might be really good to encourage some growth and development because they are very accessible to transit. So I like that input about it. And we've had a good working relationship with TriMet in the past as we've done transportation system updates. They listen to what we people say about where we'd like to see routes, and often they have responded and made improvements that really improve the convenience for our community.
Great, thank you. I think we do have a couple more minutes. Anise, do you need about 5 minutes for the next steps and the closeout of this? Would that be?
About, yeah, I
Okay.
think we have just a little bit more time.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, yeah. Let's see. How about Glenn and then Bob? And then
Yeah,
Jackie.
Thank you. I see just some physical opportunities that are encouraging to me. The Portland Avenue right-of-way seems to be pretty wide at about 80 feet. And that, just as a logistical point, seems to create opportunities for things like widened sidewalks, bike lanes, etc., without having to deal with the practical physical constraints that you might otherwise have to face. I like how there's the connection to the trolley trail sort of at one end, and then the river at the other. And then finally, the setup of having residential activity occurring close to commercial activity is a real opportunity. So businesses can benefit from having customers so close by. So building off those things just seems like a great opportunity for the city.
Thanks, Glenn. Bob?
Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. I like the thank you, Mike. I think that's a great idea to have some more information on TriMet, because I'm honestly I don't know the routes, I have to admit, and I don't know how many that come through here. And so that would be very nice to hear about that. Also, I love the idea, and I've said this before, of something down on the corner of Arlington and Portland Avenue. Especially because people have to stop there. And that's one of the things is, if you also make the town look more attractive down Portland Avenue, as people, because I've done this before, where I've driven around and stopped and looked down a street and said, that's really a cute little street, and made a point of going back later on to look or something. And that, I think that's very important. And so making something sort of look attractive, especially there at the corner of Portland Avenue and Arlington and on down the line, just really looks very inviting for someone to come down. And that looks them like they want to go down there and see what's down there. So.
Thank you. Jackie?
Okay, excellent feedback, everybody. And I just wanted to give some quick answers to some things that I heard. Beautification, yes, that is an absolute must. We are doing flower baskets again this year on Portland Avenue. We just bought 2 more garbage cans for Portland Avenue. Marcy and I are working on a facade improvement for maybe painting buildings on Portland Avenue. Anytime you start thinking about widening sidewalks on Portland Avenue, then we have to fix our infrastructure underneath the streets first. And it gets back to what Bob said about the balance of timing big investments on Portland Avenue versus let's just do some quick beautification projects. And that's really where our mindset is with that. In regards to the old library site, I wanted to let everybody know that those conversations will be starting at the next City Council work session on March 26th. We're going to be talking about our urban renewal district and actually adding in 21.5 acres on Portland Avenue to help finally give us that funding mechanism that we've been needing to do some of the work on Portland Avenue. So please follow that process separate from what we're doing here, because I think we're at a really opportune time to finally start seeing some of these things come to fruition that we've been working on since the downtown revitalization plan. So that's kind of what I wanted to provide some quick updates on, Heather.
Thanks so much, Jackie. That's really helpful. It looks like with that, I think we will just go ahead and let Anise give us our final information for today's meeting. But thank you. I want to say before I hand it over to Anise, thank you everyone for such a great conversation and coming with so many ideas and so much thought. It really helps inform the project and frankly makes my job easier when I can get all of your perspective up front and know what people see and what they think and where this community is going to all the opportunities, the challenges too, but wow, we have a lot of opportunities. So thank you. And Anise, let me go ahead and get that next slide up for you. Okay.
Great. Yeah, very simple, obviously, but we did choose the date for our second SAC meeting. So please go ahead and mark your calendars. It'll be once again, same time from 2 to 3:30 on Monday, June 17th. So hopefully that all works for you. And of course, these meetings are recorded. So if anybody misses the meeting for any reason, we do have a recording of the meeting you can always catch up on. So as a reminder, we do have 4 total meetings of the SAC. So the second one will be in June. The third one will probably be end of summer. And then the fourth one again in the fall. We expect at the second meeting to kind of come back to you with some of the preliminary work we've been doing around the parking reform and the town center analysis. So you'll just start to see the beginnings of that work. We'll also have a lot more information about the community workshop that we can discuss as well at that meeting. And yeah, that'll be kind of the bulk of that meeting is intro to the initial initial work and then talking about that workshop in later in the summer. Yeah, that's all I have for now. Jackie or Marcy or Heather, is there anything else that I may have missed or?
You mentioning the parking reform did jog my memory that we are taking the parking reform options that the state has in the CFEC program. There are some options with how to address parking. So we're taking that to the City Council and Planning Commission in a joint work session on April 23rd. And then we're going to ask our City Council to give us a direction to proceed with at our meeting in May. So we'll know by the next SAC meeting which option that we'll be moving forward with on parking based on the council direction and the feedback from Planning Commission and City Council. And of course, that's a public meeting as well. So if other people would like to attend, that is available. And so that's where parking is sort of in this project, but also kind of running alongside it. So just to keep that in mind. Jackie or Marcy, did you have anything else for me?
No, I think that was an excellent meeting, and I'm so glad that all of you are willing to help us on this journey. So.
Okay, and Marcy, as our tourism and economic development coordinator, you know, your voice and the connections you've made with our business owners and residents and just folks visiting Portland Avenue, that's going to be so helpful. And Marcy is a great, I know all of you business owners are in contact with her, but I think that what a great resource for the city to have.
Thank you. It was exciting to hear people's ideas because most of them will really go along with what Jackie and the city have already been planning that we're working towards. So it was really exciting to hear that everyone's pretty much on the same page for some of, like, especially the beautification things. It was really fun. Thank you all.
Well, great. I don't want to shut any voices down. I think I ended the discussion a tiny bit early, thinking we needed a little more time for the wrap up, but no, any last words that anyone feels they would like to share? There will be more opportunity as we move forward in this project. Oh, Lisa.
Where can we find that downtown revitalization plan?
Oh, so it's on the website for this project that Marcy or Jackie will email out to the group. Is it linked, the downtown revitalization?
Yes,
plan?
and I
Yeah.
sent, I believe it is, and I sent, I will double check, but it will be if it's not. And I have already sent that out to everyone as well.
Great.
So yes, it is. It's not linked on there, but it will be.
Okay.
Sure. We'll get
I mean,
on that.
it was in the packet as well. In the memo that I wrote with the background information, I did link it from that packet as well.
Yes, that's where I
So,
saw it, I think.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? Any final questions?
Andrew.
Just one more question, please. Thank you. And I'm just to kind of round back on the sign at Portland and Arlington. Is that something that we could actually, that the city could move ahead with, kind of independent of anything from this particular board? Or is that something where we could kind of have a nice downtown district sign put up at that intersection? What might be any hurdles that we could run into with that? And Jackie, I don't know if you have some information for me on that.
Andrew, let me talk internally through that process separate, but I took notes on that for wayfinding. Absolutely. And Liz, we are getting the mural fixed on the side of your building when Rotator is going to come down and reinstall it shortly. So.
Okay, great. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us this afternoon. Virtually, I hope you are in a spot where you can enjoy some of our sunshine because I fear it's fleeting, but there is a little more to be had. So thank you so much. And we will definitely be in touch before the next meeting to provide you more information so that we can have another great discussion. Thank you so much.
Sounds great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.